I feel like Ohio State's better than Texas, and I want to play the best. We want to play Ohio State. We lost to them last year in a game we should have won. That's Jeremiah Love, superstar running back for Notre Dame. Notre Dame played great tonight, no doubt about it. That's not the same Ohio State team that he played last year. I'm a believer that this team's going to win the national championship. Something stupid is coming out of his mouth. I don't know. Maybe it's just my age. He needs his vote pulled immediately. And of course, yes, a season like this has to have a name. Let's talk about something good about Justin Freck. What are you doing? Season of dreams. Ohio State, my guys, are either the best or the second best program in the history of college football. This guy is a bonehead. They love him. I question your judgment as an adult. I really do. I was a total hater. I know that for a fact, and I just don't get it. Get us back our sleeves and say, bring me that. That's the one I want. And thank you so much for joining me on a Friday. Appreciate you guys so much. The Buckeyes, the Longhorns tonight. But first, Notre Dame has not won a big game prior to this year since 1988, a year they won a national championship that is one of my very first memories as a college football fan, because my family was friends with a guy on that Notre Dame team, Frank Stams, from right here in my hometown. And that's how long it's been. That was a national championship year. They hadn't won a big-time postseason game until this year when they beat Indiana at home in the first round of the playoffs, but it's Indiana. Then they go take on Georgia. And that win was Notre Dame's first really big postseason win since 1988. Tonight, they played Penn State, and two teams that, honestly, they didn't look like either of them early on, like a team that I would consider to be 5 years ago, like a national championship contending team would look like, a team that would make it to the finals. And it kind of looked like early on, the winner of that Texas Ohio State game is definitely going to be a heavy favorite. Penn State kind of had control early. They come out, drive down, a pass to Nick Singleton's back of his knees. Should have been an easy touchdown. Drew Aller misses it. And that was a precursor to one of the worst games Drew Aller has ever played. Drew Aller, Penn State quarterback, who I thought was surely going into the NFL draft, announces he's staying at Penn State. And a lot of people were saying, look, if he comes out and has a good game tonight in this game, maybe he changes his mind, because the circumstances might dictate that he might be a top 3 quarterback in this draft. He really dropped the ball, and I feel bad for the kid. But he was terrible. He was terrible tonight, and Penn State's running game was excellent. They were excellent. Tyler Warren was excellent when they got him the ball. They didn't get it to him enough. But Penn State ends up coming out 10-0, and it stayed that way until right before the half, when Riley Leonard went out of the game, and his backup, Steve Angeli, came in, and he was sharp. Throws a way better ball. Boom, 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 and they get a field goal. Notre Dame does 10-3 at the half. Then they come out from halftime and really talk about winning the middle 8. They score again. Then they score again. 17 unanswered points, and it's 17-10 Notre Dame. Penn State comes back. Notre Dame comes back. It's 24-24 very late in the game. And Drew Aller has an opportunity to take Penn State down and win the game with a field goal, or shut it down and play for overtime. They hand it off to Singleton at about the 10, and he pops it out to about the 30. Now there's about 33 seconds left, and you got the option to, all right, let's try to push it and get in field goal range or not. And then this happens. We'll see what happens here as Nick Singleton busts one on the left-hand side and gets it out to about the 28-yard line. Push it. Push it. Let's go.
All season long, his whole career, Drew Aller's made good decisions. He's got 50-plus touchdowns, only 9 career interceptions. He's not likely a guy that's going to put the ball in harm's way. I trust him. I think he can do it.
We got 40 seconds on the clock left. 2 timeouts still for Penn State. Aller drops back. Slings it downfield. He throws a pick. Oh, my God. He threw a pick. Notre Dame will get it back at the 40 with 33 seconds left. They're going to have a chance to win this game with 3 timeouts. And Drew Aller just gave them the ball back. Are you kidding me? What is he doing? What is he doing? Oh, my gosh. Oh, Drew. I'm a little dramatic. I get it. But yeah, I was on the call live. I did a live stream. First time I've ever done that for a game. It was kind of fun. But yeah, I got to catch my reaction there in live time. And man, Drew Aller came out and said later on in the press conference that he was attempting to dirt the ball at his receiver's feet, and it just got away from him. Either way, turning around, throwing across his body back across the field. It's, quarterbacking 101. You don't throw back across the field late. He did it. No matter what he was trying to attempt to do, he gave Notre Dame the ball damn near in field goal range. They pop off a couple little runs, get in field goal range, kick a 41-yarder that looks for a second like it's going to squeeze out on the right-hand side and then kind of comes back in and win the game. And Marcus Freeman, who had gotten a garbage Penn State, threw a ball to Tyler Warren in the end zone earlier on in the fourth quarter, and Notre Dame got called for pass interference on it. In one of these calls where a ball is underthrown and the defender is there in the way so that the offensive receiver cannot run back and catch it. So the defender's in the space, and this is a very hotly debated, contested call. When that happens, the defender is where he's allowed to be, but the offensive player is trying to run back through him to catch an underthrown ball. What should we do in that circumstance? Hotly contested play, and this pass interference was hotly contested. I thought it was pass interference for what it's worth, but Marcus Freeman didn't, and I loved his reaction. He wasn't hothead. He wasn't yelling and screaming at him. He was just like, okay, I got you. And his team comes back and wins. James Franklin loses another big one. And when you look at James Franklin, like, this was Penn State's most successful season under James Franklin, winning those 2 playoff games. But the road that they took, a home game against SMU, a team that had no chance at beating them, then Boise State, a group of 5 team. You play your first real team in Notre Dame, and that's how you lose. I didn't disagree with his strategy at the end after you kicked off that nice little run by Singleton to go ahead and push it. I was saying the same thing. I think that when you're in that situation, you try a run, and if you spring a decent run, then you go for it. If you don't, then you shut it down and play for overtime. By the way, guys, we could have been close to seeing our first really big game decided in triple overtime by 2-point conversions. Was the first thing that went through my mind. This thing gets to triple overtime, and we're going to watch a 2-point conversion off to get to the national championship game. This is a rule that's got to change in the postseason, because that would have been just absolutely dreadful to see a game like this. It was a fantastic game end on 2-point conversion offs. Cannot happen. Luckily, we didn't get there. Well, depending on who you're rooting for, luckily. I was kind of rooting for Penn State. I was rooting a little bit for Drew Aller. Guy gets a lot of crap, and boy, that's not going to stop after today. Just a terrible game. Terrible game by Aller. Riley Leonard looked like the better quarterback, and he even threw 2 picks himself. One of them really bad to DDS, who made a great play on the ball. But it wasn't even simulated pressure. He didn't even pretend like he was coming in. He straight dropped back. Leonard pretty much threw it straight to him. If he wasn't there to pick the ball off, the cornerback might have been. Just a really bad ball. But in the end, Marcus Freeman beats James Franklin. And James Franklin, who at the press conference the other day, which I played James Franklin grandstanding, talking about how he feels college football should be. There should be a commissioner. Everyone should be in a conference. Everyone should play the same amount of games. All stuff a lot of people agree with. But then he did something that I didn't like, and I call it big brothering. He looks over at Marcus. Marcus, how old are you? And Marcus didn't like it. He's 38. Like, he's 38. Look at the hairline on this guy. Just trying to, I'm the man here at the table. James Franklin's a prick. I can't stand the guy. And the right guy won tonight. Marcus Freeman, in year 3, has now taken Notre Dame to a national championship game. And he's going to have a chance to be a national championship winning coach to join the club of Kirby and Dabo, the only 2 with national championships, both with 2, that is currently coaching in all of college football. Marcus Freeman, Steve Sarkisian, or Ryan Day. One of those 3 is joining that club. I'm happy for Freeman. I think he's a great young coach. I think he's a leader of men. You can see how the guys respond to him. Every time he talks, he says the right thing. He never takes the bait. He's just a cool cat. He's a great recruiter. When we look at what he's done with that roster, I went to the national championship game in 2012, the last time Notre Dame was in it, Notre Dame, Alabama. We've since seen Manti Te'o come out and talk about that game, talk about running out of the locker room with his guys and looking over and seeing DJ Fluker and a couple of the other guys from Alabama come out, go, whoop, whoop. And he said their big old bellies were hanging out and they were just different. I knew we were in for a long day. And it was so visibly evident at that game, just looking at those two sidelines. Notre Dame maybe had 12 guys who looked like they belonged on that Alabama roster. The rest of them might as well have been a high school team. There was just no shot whatsoever. And the game obviously played out that way. Brian Kelly got the roster better from that point. But they always had issues with depth. If somebody went down, their starting 22 could play with anybody. Not anybody. They could play with the upper echelon of college football. But after that, there was a huge drop-off. And Brian Kelly couldn't get it any better. Never could. Went down to LSU. Freeman comes in year 3. That roster is getting to the point where it's looking pretty loaded. It's looking pretty loaded. It's looking pretty deep. And they're a team to deal with. Obviously, they're in the national championship. But moving forward, Notre Dame is going to keep getting better under Marcus Freeman. I couldn't be happier for him. Obviously, he's a Buckeye alum and a guy I like, even though he's taken some shots at Ohio State. I find it like if you don't like Marcus Freeman, I think something's wrong with you, because that's just an incredibly likable dude, an easy to root for guy. Son of a Korean mom immigrant who couldn't speak English and was like his best friend growing up because she had nobody else. I mean, just a cool story. But Notre Dame, man, in the national championship, James Franklin, another loss to a top 5 team. I don't know. Is Notre Dame a top? Yeah, they're a top 5 team. And that makes him 1 for 19 against top 5 teams. I don't know what you do you gave him a God contract at Penn State. So his job's not ever going to be in jeopardy. He can do whatever he wants, but this guy just doesn't seem to have what it takes to get over the hump. He just doesn't. I thought that, they really underutilized Tyler Warren tonight. That's for sure. Every time he got the ball, he did damage. 5-6 yards after contact every time. They didn't get him the ball enough, and people would doubt the decision at the end of the game. I don't really doubt it. I think it was the right call, but obviously a poor result. If he didn't go for it, people would be ripping him for that too. If he lost in overtime, why didn't he try to go for it then? So it is what it is. But in the end, I think we got the right team in the national championship. The better team won. Notre Dame was clutch in the end. And Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish will play the winner of Ohio State and Texas in the national championship game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That was an amazing game. It was. I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe for me. I'm going for a goal here on the subscribers, and we are getting real close to that goal as we head into 1 year of Juckonbucks. And I'd like to say that I hope tonight's game is as good as that Orange Bowl was, but I don't. I hope it's over just as fast as the Rose Bowl was, which was 7 minutes left in the first half is when Jack was firing up the crowd on the sidelines, and I got emotional. Your boy shed a tear at the Rose Bowl before halftime. That's how fast that sucker was over. And I hope we have a repeat of that, though I don't expect we will. I think we're going to have a really good game. But Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian were at that Cotton Bowl press conference today, the same press conference that Ryan Day was at last year, opposite Eli Drinkowitz. You remember the one where Eli was asked about giving up play calling. He had given up play calling after being a longtime play caller like Ryan Day, and he had just given it up last year. And he was sitting side by side with Ryan Day, going on and on about how essentially he was being selfish by calling plays. He wasn't giving as much as he needed in certain areas to the team. And now that he had embraced his role as the head coach, he wasn't trying to feed his ego with play calling. It was really awkward because these conversations had come up with Ryan Day many times. Press would ask him about it, and the tone of it was everybody wants you to give up play calling. And he was just kind of looking there, kind of looking down. It was an awkward moment for sure. And it almost felt like Eli Drinkwitz knew the situation. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he did, knowing that guy's personality. He's a sarcastic fellow like that. But it wasn't much longer after that press conference and after that somewhat self-imposed loss in the Cotton Bowl that wasted a ridiculously great defensive effort that Ryan Day said he would, in fact, be giving up play calling. He hired Bush League Bill O'Brien. Bush League Bill lasted 3 weeks. 2 of those weeks, he was going through a full interview process for the head coach job at Boston College, which he got and left. And I'm happy about now, but I wasn't at the time. The rumors started quickly about Chip Kelly. I didn't believe them for a second. Then the Bucs got Chip Kelly. Fast forward a year later, and Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian are sitting across from each other with their brand new cowboy hats that they just got from the Cotton Bowl. I was so hoping they were going to put them on. They didn't put them on. But Ryan Day praised Sark for being a tremendous offensive mind. He said he had studied him a lot. Regarding him giving up play calling, he said it was time for me to spend some more time in my spots with the team defense, with the special teams. When you're a play caller, to be a great play caller, it consumes your mind. So it's allowed me to step away a little bit from that. They said that it's a benefit to both teams, Ohio State and Texas, that next year they can feel free to play each other to open up the season, as they're allowed to lose once or twice and be able to grow and build throughout the season.
Yeah, no, I mean it's ultimate honor and like gracefulness from my teammates. I mean, I try to hold myself to the highest standard, and I feel like they believe in me. And you know, when I was honored with that, I was so thankful for them. And you know, it made me think that I have to do even more now, because you know there's such a high responsibility to have that block go. And you know, it's not just about me; it's about the people who come before. So I just wanted to treat it right and honor the number.
He was asked about Cody Simon and Texas linebacker Anthony Hill Jr., who is also a total stud. Cody, of course, a candidate for our Juckeye of the Year, one of just a couple. Jack, Cody, Will Howard, and Trey Henderson. Those are our candidates for Juckeye of the Year. The winner going up on the wall. We're doing that vote in the community tab. You can find that and vote right now. Jack Sawyer in the lead to get his jersey on the Juckeye Studios wall, voted for by our Juckeyes. So make sure you cast your vote on that. But right now, Jack in the lead. So if you want Cody, who's running in second, better get your vote in. But Ryan Day was talking about Cody and said he does everything right, and that's the best way to describe him. And man, he sure does. That guy is awesome. We're going to miss him a ton. Sark was asked about his comment. He made the comment immediately after his game that you know, everybody was going to pick Ohio State. They were a huge favorite, and he's been trying to play this up like his team is just massive underdogs. And he didn't back down from that comment when he was asked about it at the press conference. He said, if I ask everybody in here, you know, who's the favorite, you're all going to say Ohio State. And that's okay. It's football. We talked yesterday about the amount of people that are picking Ohio State to win this game. And it makes me rather uneasy. I never like that. I just don't like it. In the way people are talking so sure about it, it just makes me uneasy. On3 compiled a list of national pundits, talking heads in the college football space, people like Chris Vanini, Reese Davis, Greg McElroy, etc. 20 different people. And I went through and I read all 20 of their picks, and my stomach just turned as we got down the list. All 20. Not a single one picked Texas, guys. Not one. Last night, we streamed for 3 hours and 44 minutes during the Notre Dame Penn State game. And I called the game. Last night, we streamed for 3 hours and 44 minutes during the Notre Dame game. And I called the game. I called the game, so to speak. But more so, I talked with the folks that were in the chat here with me for that Notre Dame. Last night, we streamed for 3 hours and 44 minutes while I called the Notre Dame Penn State game. It was the first time I've ever done such a thing. Here's a little preview of what that sounded like. Last night during the Notre Dame and Penn State game, I came on and for the first time, I kind of called the game, talked to people in the chat while the game was going on. It was a hell of a time. We had about 2,000 people show up. Here's a little taste of me on the call. The fourth time we've seen it. Penn State, handout to Nick Singleton up the left-hand side. He's going to get in for a touchdown. Penn State going to go up 24-17 here in the fourth quarter of the Orange Bowl. 7:55 left. Singleton with another clutch play for his hometown Penn Staters. And it'll be 24-17. The score the Juckster predicted, by the way, we'll see if it holds. That was the score I predicted. It didn't hold, but that's me on the call. I think I'm getting better. I started getting better as the night went on, and tonight we're going to do it again. Only tonight for the Ohio State-Texas game, I'll be a little more on edge, number one, but I'm hoping for a bigger audience because we only got I don't know, not big enough. I need more because I need more comments in the chat. So if you were watching and weren't chatting, I need you to get in that chat and talk because I've got this pile of Juckeyes shirts right here, and we're giving them out. We're giving out the shirts. All you got to do is basically before every drive, everybody kind of gives a little prediction of what they think might happen during that drive. And I pick a couple of those predictions. If any of them hit, you get a shirt. It's as easy as that. So join me tonight for the Texas-Ohio State Cotton Bowl game. And I will be on the call talking to you guys. We're going to watch the game together. The post-game show then I won't do till a little after. It won't be live. So we'll be live during the game for the duration of the Ohio State-Texas game, unless it goes really, really bad. And that's not going to happen. Anyway, appreciate you guys so much. Please remember to like the video and subscribe, and I will talk to you tonight for the game. See you then, 7:30, right here at Juckonbucks. Have a good one. Hey, it's Juck.
Juck? Who is Juck?
Juckonbucks.
Juckonbucks.
Juckonbucks?
Juckonbucks.
My guy Juck.
Juckonbucks?
My buddy Juck.
Juck is the Juck.
Juckonbucks.
Okay.
Juck is junk.
The Juckeyes.
Juckeyes.
Juckonbucks.